Welcome back to Marketing for Your Future. I am your host, David Benfield, and on the show, we talk to industry professionals to help you be a better marketer. So joining me today is Matt Johnson, all the way from San Diego, California. He's an agency founder. Matt, how you doing today?
Doing awesome. Honored to be here.
So Matt, what do you do as an agency founder, right? It sounds a little generic, but I know it's pretty specific. So walk us through it.
It is very specific. So I only sell one thing to one type of person. So we do a done-for-you podcast production, and we only work with business coach, consultant, like author, speaker type. So we basically do everything so that they just show up on Zoom, they hit record, they talk, they do what they do best, and my team does the rest.
Wow. So how'd you get into that? What made you choose, writers and things of that nature?
Well, I kind of had to. I was forced into it. At one point, I launched 3 different podcasts in my first niche, which was real estate, and I was hosting all of them. So I was on live video 5 to 7 hours a week. I didn't have time to do any of the behind-the-scenes stuff, which I was doing all myself at one point. And so I started building this team around me to produce it, and people started asking me how I was producing all this content. So I told them about this team that I had built that did all the behind-the-scenes work, and they're like, well, can I rent them when they're not working for you? I'm like, sure, just pay me X dollars and I'll have them take care of you too. And then of course that broke and I had to turn it into an actual agency.
Oh, wow. So the mother of necessity, right? Or the mother of invention is necessity. So
Exactly.
So since you had to do all that stuff on your own, I'm sure that's a lot of trial and error. I'm sure you failed forward routinely. So talk to us about some of those failures that actually in hindsight turned into successes, or at least you could use them to pave that way.
Well, I think one of the early things was I tried to have, and I think we all have this fantasy as a business owner, you have this one person that you can just, take all the stuff that's on your shoulders and throw it right back over at them and they go, yeah, throw me some more. Mostly that doesn't exist. And if they are, they're really expensive and hard to keep. So what I had to figure out is that it's better for me to compartmentalize, specialize, and systematize everything, so that I have a team of 15 people now and nobody works for me full time. In fact, they're basically not allowed to. They are only there for the thing that they are specially gifted to do, and that is all they do for me. I never ask people to really do more than one thing, and that solved a lot.
Interesting. So what's next on the horizon? Where are you guys going? Where are you specifically going from here?
New podcast launching, working on a podcast that's more of a passion project that's all around business books. It's going to be called One Book That Changed My Life, and get to talk to a lot of really great, interesting people. I just interviewed Mike Kim from the Brand You podcast. I think he's rebranding that. But so Mike Kim, he's kind of the guy behind Todd Herman and Donald Miller's Story Brand. He basically co-wrote Story Brand. So I get to talk to awesome people like that about the business books that were the most influential on them. And that's going to be coming out here towards the end of the year. So it's kind of like a passion project, which I have time to do because I'm able to run the agency in about 4 hours a week. That's the result of 5 years of just refining the systems and getting things together so that I have the time to pursue other things.
Very nice. Get your coiffure in order and you got time to go play. So,
That's right.
So a lot of the show, it's educational. It's trying to help marketers become better marketers. And so if you had just one piece of advice, real quick, it's the last thing we can ask you before we got to go. What would that one piece of advice be?
Reach out to somebody who has the potential to send you referrals for the next 5 or 10 years and ask them who you can introduce them to. I'd go straight relationship based.
Interesting. So, and as far as referrals, are you talking about in real estate or just in business in general? Explain to me those referrals.
Business.
Who are these people? Who should they be looking for?
No, what I've realized is that one of the most valuable assets that I have is not the social media following, right? I mean, there's 10,000 people that follow me on Facebook and who cares, right? Maybe 150 of them see the average post that goes out these days. What's more valuable to me is the people that are influential in my space, that know who I am and what I do, and they think of me and they have positive associations with me, that I'm trusted, respected, influential in the space. And one of the ways that I maintain my visibility with those people is not to try to put content in front of them. It's to literally reach out and just say, hey man, who can I introduce you to? Who can I keep an eye out for you? And then I actually follow through. I literally have a Trello board of relationships that I look at every single week with my biz dev team, and we look at who can we introduce to each other that would add value to both sides, and we make 2 to 5, sometimes up to 10 introductions every single week, just to keep in front of the people that are the most valuable relationships, because they can send us business. Either they can send us someone that can turn around and hire us, or they can put me on a podcast, they'll put me in front of an audience, or whatever. That's kind of, I kind of define who I want to keep those relationships with.
That sounds excellent. It's kind of like working your spear, so to speak. So that's all the time I have for you today, Matt. I really appreciate you coming on the show. It's a fantastic interview. You guys sound like you have a great company. So if you'd like to learn more about Matt Johnson and the agency founding the company that he does, go to dailyadbrief.com. That's going to do it for us today on Marketing for Your Future. I'm your host, David Benfield. And until next time, we'll see you then.